Welcome to September. Here we are. Since school is back in session, I have chosen the theme for this month of higher education. And today's topic is the classroom of experience. And like it or not, whether we have actually graduated from our formal schooling or not, life is always in session. We draw the lessons to us based on the consciousness that we have developed. And so I hope that we all realize by now that we are living in a spiritual world, that it is governed by spiritual law, that we are a spiritual being having a human experience. And the only thing that we will take with us when we leave this earth plane is our consciousness. And we get the opportunity to develop it to its highest extent possible at every moment. So I went to the San Diego Pops on Friday night where they played the movie Rocket Man, the story of Elton John. Have any of you seen that? It literally was the movie. I was surprised. I didn't really expect it to be that way. Hang on just a second. Clear the pipes. But so the orchestra played the music in conjunction with the movie being played. So it was really pretty cool. But, they showed Elton John. He had a different name. I forget what his real name was, as a boy. It starts out with he entering a room, of course, all in this huge garb and whatnot, and sitting in a circle of people and saying, okay, I know how this works. And then he goes, I'm an alcoholic. I'm a this, and he listed about 10 things that he was, drug addict and bulimia, however that is about food and anything. So, but then they flash back as a child and growing up in the different scenes. And so he was grown up, he grew up in a dysfunctional family. The mother and the father were disassociated with each other for sure, and primarily with him. There was a grandmother in the home that seemed to have it together more than the others. But there was one song that I think must have been written just for the movie because, of course, all the other songs, of course, were the ones that he had played. I didn't know that he didn't write the songs. He wrote the music for the songs, but he had another fellow, Bernie, somebody who actually wrote the words for all of those songs. But there was this one song where each person, like he as a boy, sorry, if I take a drink of water, that would help. And then his mother, his father, and his grandmother all had a little verse that part of this song that they sang, and it was about how I only want love. I only want love. And from their own perspective, of how they wanted love in their life. And I thought that what spoke to me, oh, for heaven's sake. Jim, would you do me a favor and turn the air off in this end of the room? Because I think I'm getting clogged up with too much fresh air. I don't know. So it was interesting how he, many of us think that he was a successful person. I mean, he made lots of money. He was 23 years old when he, had all these gold records and all of this and all those things. But inside, he was haunted. Inside, he was lacking what he really wanted, which was love. And I'm still to this day singing some of the songs that la la la, anyway. Many times it's said that a successful person is one who is self-confident. And he appeared on the outside as very self-confident. All the ways that he dressed and the way that he performed and all of that. But I'd like to suggest that is not really the self-confidence that makes someone a success. Because that's the show, and that's on the outside. Thank you. But what we want to remember is that there is this energy force that is that love within each and every one of us. And when we acknowledge that, and when we let it out through us, then we are a success. Because then we are living from this core energy, and it's going to look different. None of us are going to have the same way that we express this love. But we want to make sure that we're doing it from the standpoint of having self-confidence with a big S. How many of us have looked at all the experiences that we've had in life? Do you ever look back in hindsight and say, wow, look at what happened there, and look at what happened there, and look at what happened there? Have you been able to look at those experiences and glean the lesson from them? It's important because as we are on this human plane, being the spiritual essence and energy, whole, complete, and perfect, we get amnesia and we forget that that's what we are. And so we draw these experiences to us in life to remind us to step up to a higher ground, to step up to a higher way of being that is what we are. And sometimes it takes, not a fun experience in order to bring that out. But I want us to think about anchoring ourselves in this truth, that I am a spiritual being, infinite and unlimited. There's a prayer that I say every day. It says, a part of it is, open our hearts that we may hear thy voice, which constantly comes from within. Disclose to us thy divine light, which is hidden in our souls, so we may know and understand life better. The understanding what we want is coming directly from our souls, from our own souls, that light that sheds and destroys and lets go of the darkness, the shadows, the fear. That light is constantly within us. And we need to remember that to access it. When we remember to go within and listen and see that light, that gives us an understanding beyond human comprehension. I was reading in the book Through God's Eyes, written by Phil Bosta. He writes, the 4 steps to enlightenment then are learning, believing, knowing, and being. Learning, believing, knowing, and being. Each of these steps demands more courage and faith than the one before. Their order is absolute. None may be leapfrogged. And after that statement, he put a quote in there by Beverly Sills. There are no shortcuts to any place worth going. And then Bolsta continued to write, the chasm between believing and knowing can be traversed with a single bound. It is the distinction between faith that flows from intellectually knowing about God versus intuitively knowing God's presence. In the famous 1959 BBC interview, host John Freeman asked Carl Jung, the founder of analytical psychology, do you now believe in God? Jung responded, I don't need to believe. I know. And another quote from St. Augustine, God is not what you imagine or what you think you understand. If you understand, you have failed. This infinite being literally is beyond our comprehension. It's not in the thinking mind. It's in our DNA. It's in our ability to go within and feel this presence. It's in the ability to trust, to know that there is something within me, even though my finite mind may not know what to do at this moment, may not know what to say, may not know how to respond or how to be. There is something within me that does. And that's what I need to allow to let it flow. And sometimes it means not saying anything. Maybe it takes the time to just sit back and be quiet. Many times, if you've heard me say it before, many times when I don't know what's going on, I'll say, Lord knows and he's not telling. Because we don't know. We wonder, we think, oh gosh, how could that be? You know, we put all these judgments, all these assessments on the way it should be or shouldn't be. And that's coming from our egoic mind. When we let go of those assessments, those judgments, even our expectations, literally, because there is something that is within us that is greater than what we can even fathom. I believe that if we allow this being to be our guide, to be our friend, that we will have a life that is free, that is enjoyable, that is worthy of giving the very best service that we can give. I believe that's what life is about, is to know that we are one with all. There is no differentiation between myself and any others, because there is one power, one presence. But each of us have the ability to give of our talents, to give of our treasures in our own perfect way. And we will be changing it up each and every year. We will be able to do something new and different than what we had previously done. I mean, think about it, you know. This life experience is a good example. Just learning to walk, a toddler. If they fall down, do we scold them and say, you didn't do it right? Of course not. And yet, as we get older, sometimes if we don't do something right, we scold ourselves. I should have known better. Allow yourself the freedom to be at peace with whatever is going on. Last Sunday, we talked about faith. And I wanted to sing a song. It came to mind at the end of the service. And then I changed it up because I sang my go-to song, my theme song. I'm always finding rainbows. But I wanted to share it because it still, I think, has value. The second one that didn't make it last week is making it this week. And I think it fits because when we are trying to allow ourselves to be elevated to a higher level of consciousness, to a higher education, it doesn't come through academia. It comes through knowing what we are. And so I want to share with you the prayer of faith. God is my help in every need. God does my every hunger feed. God walks beside me, guides my way through every moment of this day. I think that first verse is kind of the elementary level because there's a bit of a separation there. God walks beside me, guides me. There's a God and an and. So that's that prayer of faith that's on an elementary level. But the second verse says, I now am wise, I now am true, patient, kind, and loving too. These things I am, can do and be through Christ the truth that is in me. Now that verse brings it home a lot more to reality, that I now am. That I of me, the I am of me now is. It joins that oneness with the one, that I am no longer separate. Through the Christ that is in me. See, we still, as a human being, feel like we need some intercession, person, thing, entity to connect us to God. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong in that. The third verse is, God is my health, I can't be sick. God is my strength, unfailing quick. God is my all, I know no fear, since God and love and truth are here. If we can remember at every moment that only God is here, that only love is here, and that's exactly where I am, we will have learned a valuable, valuable lesson and go on to express that in life, to give of this higher self that we are in every experience that we go through. Take a look at the experiences that you have and step back for just a moment. Don't get drawn into the drama. Don't get drawn into the angst. And just breathe, knowing that there is this divine being within me and within each of us, that as we turn to it, it takes the reins and leads and guides us. So feel that energy today. Allow it to be what you are, and then have a joyous, beautiful, fun-filled day. Namaste. Love you.